Lisa Hackney, and have served for 8 years as Associate Rector at St. Paul's, Cleveland Heights, with special responsibility for outreach. In the past 2 months, my life has changed as I have entered into a new relationship with St. Alban's Episcopal Church, also in Cleveland Heights, an Agape campus ministry part of St. Alban's, and working with this coalition together to do a new thing in the Heights. It is my delight to serve both places as we strain forward to perceive what it is that God is asking of not only us, but those in our broader community. And you're going to hear from that from the several communities that are represented here. But first, I think it will help you to understand the story a little bit more if you understand some of the basics of the geography of the places that we're talking about. Cleveland Heights is a strangely shaped suburb. It's an inner-ring suburb just to the east of Cleveland. And where are you, Aaron Garlick? I like your corridor ministry. We are aligned along what I would call the Coventry corridor. There's a north-south street called Coventry. In Cleveland Heights, St. Paul's is on the southern end of it, as is Roxborough School. And St. Paul's is a large congregation with about 400 or so on a Sunday morning. St. Albans is about a mile north of St. Paul's, and we have at St. Albans about 25 on a Sunday morning. And then we have about another 20 or so on Wednesday evenings with our Agape community. So with that geography in mind, and Roxborough School, is just to the south of St. Paul's. So it's Roxborough, St. Paul's, St. Albans, and then another community that you'll hear about called, appropriately enough, North Coventry up there. And so I'll hand the mic over to our senior warden at St. Albans, Jonathan Fairman.
Thank you. I get the unenviable job of giving you a little history, very briefly. And, in my conversations at this diocesan convention this fall have been really wonderful. Everybody I meet seems to have a story about St. Albans. And if they don't have a story about how St. Albans, Cleveland Heights affected them, they have a story about the Agape campus ministry. And the person they just met somewhere who was enthused about being part of the Episcopal Church and being part of this ministry that we share together. We were founded as a church in 1892. And our building was unfortunately destroyed by a fire in 1989 and rebuilt, and we reopened in 1993 in the Heights. Now we're separated by about a mile diagonally from St. Paul's, and historically we've done very little together until recently. In this century, it was obvious to us that at St. Albans that we could not afford a full-time clergy person. And we've had numerous part-time clergy and priests in charge over the years. And each of those people have contributed to our growth and our spirituality and given us wonderful, wonderful gifts. When Reverend Alan Gates was called as director of St. Paul's, our historical division began to change. He was interested in sharing the ministry of the Heights with St. Albans. Our first shared ministry was the ministry of Father Matt Hum. Now, Father Hum served both parishes. He was a part-time youth minister at St. Paul's, and he was priest in charge at St. Albans. During that time, Father Hum met Father Joe Kovac, who was then leading the Agape campus ministry, and the vestry and Father Hum made the invitation to Father Kovac to bring Agape into St. Albans and become part of our community. Almost immediately upon their arrival, they have services on Wednesday nights, and you're all invited to come in and join with them on Wednesdays. They began to join us on Sundays and became part of our total ministry. And they're involved in everything that we do. When Father Hum left to take on leadership of a church in Rockport, Illinois, Father Joe Kovac became a priest in charge, and our bonds with the Agape Campus Ministry were strengthened. Our joint ministries were strengthened. We began a service on Sunday night. The first Sunday of each month is Choral Evensong at St. Paul's at 5 o'clock. You are all invited to join in that. And then on the other Sundays of the month, we have Sung Concline at St. Alban's. And people from both churches attend the Sunday night service. I think it's rather amazing that people attend a Sunday morning service in the Episcopal Church, and many come back Sunday night. Very unusual, but very enriching. Unfortunately, in December of 2012, Father Joe left St. Albans, and he's now leading a church in Columbus. And at the beginning of this year, our lay ministry, as well as the supply clergy, led services as the vestry planned for the future. As senior warden, I entered into conversations with Reverend Lisa Hackey, and we discovered a shared vision for the ministry that we're about to describe. We were both excited about it. The vestries of both churches agreed to our plan in August, and St. Albans and St. Paul's began the new ministry you're going to hear about just this past September.
Hey everybody. Hi Josh. I'm Josh Handley from St. Albans, Cleveland Heights, and part of the Agape community also. And Agape is a new thing. Originally, it started as an interdenominational campus ministry group, priest-led by Joe Kovich, as you heard Jonathan talk about. But at the end of the spring this past year, things started getting a little bit hairy. We lost our budget, our priest had moved to Columbus, and the few of us who were holding down the fort were falling pretty hard into burnout. So we did what we had to. We decided to temporarily dissolve. And after a while, it looked like we were starting to drift apart. But I knew that we didn't want to stay lost, wandering in that wilderness. There were so many cool visions that we shared, that we needed to do together. Maybe too many. So I used leadership techniques that I learned from taking EFM at St. Paul's, from the lay preaching college offered by the diocese, and from some GCC community organizing training that I was bullied into taking by someone up here right now. And then Janie got us a grant from the diocese, and we rebuilt Agape's structure together to encourage involvement from all of us, with basically a different one of us, with support, of course, designing and leading interesting liturgies, giving really quite moving group reflections, and cooking a community meal each week. These are things that definitely aren't always in our comfort zone. But we've been excited to see the skills and gifts that we have to bring to the situation, and learning more how to share our vulnerabilities together. Now, as we're getting more comfortable in our skills and in our welcome, we're ready to step more intentionally into Cleveland and our neighborhood, to find out with God and with each other and with our broader church family what is the next new thing. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tammy Brown, Junior Warden at St. Paul's, Cleveland Heights. In 2007, St. Paul's completed a 15-year plan focused on the impact the church could make both within our walls as a spiritual home, as well as outside our walls as a partner in our community. To that end, when we launched our capital campaign for some much-needed building updates, we pledged a 10% tithe to strategic mission outreach. In 2011, St. Paul's established a relationship with Roxborough Elementary, a nearby school. The relationship initially focused on just a holiday gift campaign, which still exists. However, that initial holiday campaign opened the door to discussion and discovery. We learned that Roxborough is in many ways two schools within one school, in that there's a division between the students who walk to school from a higher economic neighborhood and the students from the more economically challenged North Coventry neighborhood who take the bus to their school. It was this issue that parents, teachers, and the principal have shared as their main challenge. St. Paul's realized quickly that we could not effectively address this issue on our own. We find ourselves isolated by geography and other lines of difference such as race and class. St. Albans is located near the North Coventry neighborhood, and we realized that their grassroots community approach could really help us bridge that divide. We don't know yet how the relationship with Roxborough will grow, but we do know that we can't grow it as effectively by ourselves as we can in partnership with St. Albans. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jenny Hansen, and I'm a member of St. Albans Episcopal Church. And as Tammy, Josh, and John were all describing, this summer sort of left Cleveland Heights in a place to reach out into the community. St. Paul's was looking for a new ministry opportunity. Agape had members who were interested in social justice and service, but we were going through major revisions. And St. Albans was geographically situated and very excited to help in any way that they could. These factors led us to take advantage of an opportunity to write a grant for the new Mission Enterprise Zone, which was offered after General Convention last year. Another young member of St. Albans Episcopal Church and the Agape community met with her future priest-to-be, and she said there was community demand from the principal at Roxborough Elementary School for 3rd to 5th grade math tutoring, and we saw this as an opportunity to help. We met with Brad Purdom from the diocese and Tom Brackett from the Greater Episcopal Church to talk about how the Episcopal Church could build community. From these conversations, in talking to the parents and teachers at the elementary school, we wrote and submitted a grant called Mind the Gap, Building Bridges Over Racial, Economic, and Social Boundaries at Roxborough Elementary School. This grant used the skills and partnerships formed at St. Albans, St. Paul's, and in Agape to address the needs of math and racial relations, which were identified by the parents, teachers, and principal at the school to build a stronger community within Roxborough Elementary. Thank you.
And so that gives you a snapshot of what we're working with. Like so much in God's world, it's complex, it's grand, it's intimate, it's wonderful, and we're all filled with great excitement and joy as we embark on this together. And so we ask your prayers as our final word. We ask your prayers not only for our grant proposal, but also your prayers for us more broadly as we continue to work together to perceive what it is that God is asking of us in the Heights. Thank you.